Okay, Tennessee Titans fans, it's been a few weeks since we did this. The holidays really threw off my schedule, but we are back this week looking at the Tennessee Titans Reddit page. And I do want to remind you, we have a Two-Tone Talk Reddit page that there is a link to in the video description below. Would love to see some questions and posts and comments on there so that I can get to those on next week's edition of this. But for today, we're looking at the Tennessee Titans Reddit page to see what the fans are saying about the state of the Tennessee Titans as of right now. This should be good. Let's dive in with the first post from Tired Dad 4 times. It's 20 minutes long. He is referring to a video the NFL uploaded called Will Levis 2024 Season Highlights. And this user, much like I was, is very surprised that it's 20 minutes long. But I will just tell you this. I watched it, and as it turns out, it's 20 minutes long because they will show a throw and then replay that throw 15 times in slow motion. So it makes the video longer, but about half of it is just slow-mo replays of the same throw over and over again. But yeah, I was also surprised when I saw the length of that highlight video from the NFL. This one from Lil Bell and Sebastian says the Titans had 0 players finish in the top 5 of any position voting for All-Pro in 2025. Simmons was 8th in interior defensive line with 1 first-team vote and 5 second-team votes. Morgan Cox received a first-team vote at long snapper and a second-team vote, while Luke Gifford received a singular special-team vote for special teams. That's honestly amazing that we had anybody get a vote for special teams. That's 9 total votes for Titans players. The only team with less was the Jets with 4, although the Bears were close with 11, the Panthers with 13, and Miami with 15. Webster, Robinson, Carthon / next GM to be fired. Take a bow. What a roster we've built. It is a shame, to see how bad the roster is, particularly after all of the moves that we made last offseason to try to improve it, all the money that was spent. But I'll tell you, GMs have kind of been the talk of the week. And when you draft like John Robinson did from 2020 to 2022, you end up with a roster where nobody gets any all-pro votes. I mean, we have nobody left from the 2020 draft. We have one guy left from the 2021 draft, and it's Dylan Radins. He's about to be a free agent, so who knows if he'll even be back. And the 2022 draft is very much starting to look sus as well. So the Titans have not drafted well, and have had bad luck with injuries to free agents. It's just a disaster. And the roster is, like you said, take a bow. It's truly a thing of art. This one says bridge options. Say hypothetically the Titans decide to trade back or just use the first overall pick in a non-quarterback. Would you guys want to roll with Levis again, find a veteran like Aaron Rodgers, or take an upside guy like Joe Milton? Personally, the Milton option intrigues me. I would have a hard time getting excited about Will Levis going into 2025. I would just have a hard time even tuning in. I would tune in, but I'd have a hard time doing it. It'd be hard to even have any hope at all that team could even do anything. Bridge quarterbacks like veteran guys. Rodgers intrigues me a little. I don't think he had as bad of a season as people say. I don't really want anything to do with Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr. Justin Fields, I mean, if you want to go a little younger, sure. I'm not a big believer in him, but sure, you can try that if you want. I don't think Sam Darnold's going to be available. And the option of a guy like Joe Milton or maybe even a Hendon Hooker, somebody like that we don't know much about. Joe Milton played in Week 18 for the Patriots and played well. Yes, I agree that would be an intriguing option, but I don't think it's a realistic one because now more than ever, these people are going to know, like Brian Callahan's going to know he's coaching for his job from the word go in 2025, and you need to be in a position to win some games or you're going to get fired. And so I think what that's going to lead to is that's going to lead to the Titans going with a guy like Aaron Rodgers or Sam Darnold if he's available just to get you 7-8 wins so that you can say, look, we improved. And I think Joe Milton or Hendon Hooker or somebody like that would just be too big of a question mark with people's jobs on the line, because if you come work for the Tennessee Titans, your job is on the line from the second you walk into the building. Confidence Complete 32 says, favorite Mike Keith calls. What are some of y'all's favorite Mike Keith calls in Titans history? Mike Keith, obviously, Titans radio announcer who has announced he's leaving to go to the Tennessee Volunteers. I would just say, obviously, the Music City Miracle, which we just celebrated the 25th anniversary of. Obviously, that's going to be number one to most people. The 99-yarder for Derrick Henry was a good one. Standing on the Arrowhead at Arrowhead with Ryan Suckup was a classic. Really just, Mike Keith is just so excellent. He's been the voice of the Titans for so long. I did a video about him the other day. He wasn't just the voice of my childhood. He's one of the voices of my life, because I've been a Titans fan for most of my life, and I've been listening to him for most of my life. So it's hard to narrow it down because he's just so excellent that there's so many options. Why are we linked primarily to Cam Ward? I know it's early, but why do you guys think every draft expert has us drafting Cam Ward instead of Shedeur Sanders? I've seen it so far from McShay, Kiper, Field Yates, Walter Football, etc. If I were going to be a conspiracy theorist, I would say that a lot of people don't want Shedeur Sanders to come to the Titans because they want him to go somewhere more fun. That would be, if I were a conspiracy theorist, I would say that. But what I think is actually going on, I think by the time April rolls around, I do think Cam Ward will be QB1 in this draft. I think that Cam Ward, what you're going to see as people dive into film breakdowns, I just think Cam Ward just has so much higher of an upside than Shedeur. I think Cam Ward really shows potential to like be a stud, whereas Shedeur, I mean, it just, I want him to have more of an upside than just being Deion Sanders' son. Would he be getting talked about in this way if his dad was not Deion Sanders? I don't know. I mean, you hear everybody saying in any other draft he would be a second-round talent. You're talking about taking him with the number one pick. I think by the time you get to April, I just think Cam Ward has so much higher of an upside that that's going to kind of be where we land there. That's still the old one. This person said, sell the team. Legit infuriating. Rand was given maybe the worst roster in the league, along with a first-year head coach, and gets fired for what? 2 solid drafts, brought in Snead, Pollard, and Ridley, and took shots at other positions. Not to mention we have the first pick. I'm tired of it. Years of disappointment, and the only common denominator is the Adams family. Pa-ba-da-dum. Yeah, I mean, I can't blame you. I totally get the frustration. You know, I always said leading up to this firing of Ran Carthon, I said, if you're going to fire Ran Carthon, you may as well just fire everybody. Let's clean house. Let's hit reset. Let's start over. But we chose to just fire one guy and keep the other. And that creates this weird dynamic that's going to continue on. And yeah, I get it. It's frustration. And as it goes on, I do think you're going to see more people start to realize, like, hey, at what point do we look at the owner? Like, Amy Adams Strunk is the one who is ultimately making these decisions to fire people left and right at the end of every season. So, like, at what point do we start to zero in on that? And I get that frustration. I will just also say, I've said this a few times this week, if the Titans get a stud at quarterback in this draft, if the Titans draft Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders and they come in here and start playing well and the Titans start winning, nobody's going to care who the owner is. Nobody's going to care who the GM is. Nobody's going to care if the front office is in total disarray. All that matters is winning. You know, more than anything, I'm sick of watching my team go 3-14. Sick of watching my team play a terrible brand of football. Want to see that get better, and I don't care who the GM is. I don't care who the owner is or anything. I just want the product on the field to get better, and y'all can work out all of that front office garbage on your own time. Finally, the last post. First of all, this is a Squid Game reference. I just finished Squid Game the other night. Was very let down by the ending. But we got Titans firings, and then this is Colt Anderson right now. Still hanging out. Still jumping up and down, celebrating. I can't believe we are a week removed from the season ending, and Colt Anderson is still on this coaching staff. We got rid of Ran Carthon before we got rid of Colt Anderson? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's going to be a wild off season, and I hope it's wild for good reasons and not bad, because we're off to a bad start. Tighten up, everybody.